You find yourself standing on the dusty ground of an ancient Italian plain, the sun warm on your face, the scent of freshly tilled earth carried on a gentle breeze. It is the early days of the Roman Republic, a time when the very concept of a standing army is yet to fully form, when the defense of the nascent city-state rests upon the shoulders of its citizens. You are a farmer, perhaps, or a craftsman, your hands calloused from honest labor, your days typically spent under the open sky, tending to fields or shaping wood. But when the call comes, a summons echoing through the narrow streets and across the rolling hills, you lay down your tools and pick up your spear. This is not a profession, but a civic duty, a temporary transformation from civilian to soldier, driven by the immediate threat of neighboring tribes or the distant rumble of encroaching powers. You gather with your peers, men you know from the marketplace, from shared festivals, from the quiet rhythm of daily life. There is a sense of shared purpose, a quiet understanding that the fate of your homes, your families, your very way of life depends on your collective strength. The early Roman military structure is simple, yet effective, rooted in the social divisions of the time. You are part of the classis, the main body of citizens capable of affording their own equipment. The wealthier among you, those who possess horses and finer armor, form the cavalry, a small but vital contingent. The vast majority, like yourself, are infantry, armed with a round shield, a spear, and perhaps a simple sword. You stand shoulder to shoulder with your neighbors, forming a phalanx, a dense wall of shields and bristling spears, a tactic borrowed from the Greeks, yet adapted to the rugged terrain and the specific challenges of the Italian peninsula. The ground trembles slightly as you practice, the rhythmic thud of feet, the clatter of wood and bronze, a symphony of nascent military might. The air is thick with the dust kicked up by hundreds of men moving in unison, a cloud that rises and hangs in the still air, catching the golden light of the afternoon sun. Your training is rudimentary, focused on basic maneuvers and the cohesion of the unit. You learn to hold your ground, to push forward as one, to maintain the integrity of the line. The commands are shouted, sharp and clear, echoing across the training ground, and you respond, your movements becoming more fluid with each repetition. There is a raw energy in these early formations, a fierce determination born of necessity. When battle looms, you march out from the city gates, leaving behind the familiar comfort of your home, the scent of baking bread, the laughter of children. The road beneath your feet is rough, unpaved, and the journey is often short. A quick march to confront a raiding party or to assert dominance over a rival settlement. The tension in the air is palpable, a quiet hum that settles deep in your bones, a mixture of apprehension and resolve. The early Roman legion, in its most nascent form, is not a permanent entity, but a temporary levy, assembled for specific campaigns and disbanded once the immediate threat has passed. You serve for a season, perhaps, or for a few weeks, then return to your fields, your workshops, your families. The transition back to civilian life is swift, the tools of war exchanged for the implements of peace. Yet, each time you answer the call, a subtle change occurs within you. The discipline, the shared hardship, the moments of quiet courage, they leave an indelible mark. You learn to rely on the man beside you, to trust in the strength of the collective. The bonds forged in the dust and heat of the training ground, or in the brief, terrifying chaos of battle, are strong, a silent understanding that transcends the everyday. As the Republic grows, so too does the frequency of these calls to arms. The small skirmishes evolve into larger conflicts, the immediate threats giving way to more distant and formidable adversaries. The need for a more organized, more adaptable fighting force becomes apparent. The phalanx, while formidable in open terrain, proves cumbersome in the broken landscapes of Italy against agile, hit-and-run opponents. You begin to see changes, subtle at first, then more pronounced. The rigid line starts to break apart, to fragment into smaller, more flexible units. This is the birth of the manipular system, a revolutionary approach that will define the Roman legion for centuries to come. You are no longer just a part of an undifferentiated mass, but a member of a maniple, a hand-sized unit capable of independent action, yet still part of a larger, cohesive whole. The manipular system introduces a new level of tactical sophistication. You are now part of a three-line formation, each line composed of different types of soldiers, armed and arrayed according to their experience and equipment. In the front, the hastati, young men, eager and impetuous, armed with short swords and two throwing spears, the pila. Behind them, the principes, more experienced, steadier, forming the main battle line. And in the rear, the triarii, the veterans, the stoic, unyielding corps, armed with long spears, kneeling, ready to rise only in the direst of circumstances. A silent, formidable reserve. The very phrase, to come to the triarii, will become synonymous with a desperate situation, a final, unyielding stand. You feel the shift in the air, a growing sense of professionalism, even within this citizen militia. The clatter of equipment, the rhythmic chant of the drill sergeants, the dust rising from the training ground, it all speaks of a military machine, slowly, deliberately, finding its true form. The sun dips below the horizon, casting long shadows across the plain, and you feel the cool evening air settle around you, a quiet end to a day of transformation. The scent of salt and distant shores now mingles with the familiar dust of the training ground, as the Republic's ambitions stretch beyond the confines of the Italian peninsula. You stand on the deck of a newly built warship, the rhythmic creak of the timbers beneath your feet a constant companion, the vast expanse of the sea stretching out before you. The Punic Wars loom, a monumental clash against Carthage, a formidable maritime power that challenges Rome's very existence. This is no longer a seasonal skirmish against a neighboring tribe. This is a struggle for dominance, a conflict that will demand unprecedented commitment and reshape the very nature of the Roman legion. The campaigns are longer, extending for years, far from the familiar fields and homes you once left for a few weeks at a time. The concept of the citizen soldier, returning to his farm after a brief campaign, begins to fray under the strain of prolonged absence. You find yourself serving under commanders like Scipio Africanus, a man whose strategic brilliance and innovative tactics will leave an indelible mark on military history. He understands the need for adaptability, for a force that can operate effectively across diverse terrains and against varied enemies. The manipular system, already a significant improvement, is refined further under his command. You learn to maneuver with greater fluidity, to exploit gaps in the enemy line, to engage and disengage with precision. The pilum, your heavy-throwing spear, becomes a weapon of psychological impact as much as physical destruction, its bent shaft rendering it useless to the enemy once thrown, a silent testament to Roman ingenuity. You feel the weight of it in your hand, the balance, the potential energy it holds, before it arcs through the air. The logistical challenges of these extended campaigns are immense. Supplying thousands of men far from home requires an intricate network of supply lines, a constant flow of provisions, equipment, and reinforcements. You witness the tireless efforts of the quartermasters, the endless columns of wagons laden with grain and wine, the herds of livestock driven across vast distances. The Roman genius for organization, often overlooked amidst the glory of battle, is truly revealed in these quiet, persistent efforts. You learn to appreciate the simple comfort of a full stomach, the warmth of a dry cloak, the sturdy construction of a temporary camp, knowing that these small things are the result of immense, coordinated effort. The sound of the camp being struck at dawn, the rhythmic thud of tents collapsing, the lowing of cattle, the creak of wagon wheels. It is the sound of an army on the move, a living, breathing entity. The discipline within the legions hardens, becoming more rigorous, more ingrained. The stakes are higher, the consequences of failure more severe. You witness the harsh realities of military justice, the swift and brutal punishment for insubordination or cowardice. Yet alongside this severity, there is a growing sense of shared identity, a deep camaraderie, one of shared hardship and mutual reliance. The man beside you, no longer just a neighbor, is now a brother in arms. His life is dependent on your shield as yours is on his. The quiet conversations around the campfire, the shared laughter, the silent understanding in the face of danger. These are the threads that bind the Legion together, stronger than any chain of command. The smoke from the fire curls upwards into the night sky, carrying with it the scent of burning wood and the quiet whispers of men far from home. As the Punic Wars draw to a close, with Rome emerging victorious, the nature of the Legion has fundamentally changed. The citizen-militia, while still theoretically the foundation, has been stretched and transformed by decades of continuous warfare. Many of you have spent more time under arms than in your fields. Your skills as soldiers honed to a fine edge, your connection to civilian life slowly eroding. The land you once owned may have fallen into disrepair or been bought up by wealthy landowners, leaving you with little to return to. The quiet desperation of these returning veterans, landless and often impoverished, begins to ripple through Roman society, a silent undercurrent of discontent. The triumphs are grand, the parades magnificent, the streets of Rome overflowing with cheering crowds. You march through the Forum, the cheers washing over you like a warm wave, the scent of incense and laurel filling the air. But beneath the glory, a quiet crisis brews. The traditional model of military service is no longer sustainable for an expanding empire. The need for a professional standing army, capable of defending vast borders and projecting Roman power across distant lands, becomes increasingly urgent. The old ways, while honorable, are proving insufficient for the demands of a new era. You feel the subtle shift in the air, a sense of impending change, a quiet turning point in the long, winding road of Roman history. The sun sets, casting long purple shadows across the city, and the sounds of celebration slowly fade into the quiet hum of the evening. The air now carries a different kind of tension, a subtle hum of societal unrest that permeates the very fabric of Rome. The returning veterans, dispossessed and often destitute, are a stark reminder of the inadequacy of the old system. The Republic, stretched thin by its conquests, faces internal strife, and the need for a truly professional military force becomes undeniable. It is into this crucible that Gaius Marius steps, a figure whose reforms will forever alter the face of the Roman legion. You are a young man, perhaps, with no land to inherit, no family wealth to rely upon, your future uncertain in a city teeming with the poor and the ambitious. The traditional path to military service, once reserved for property owners, is now close to you. But Marius offers a new way, a radical departure from centuries of tradition. He opens the ranks of the legion to all citizens, regardless of their property qualifications. You hear the call, a promise of pay, of plunder, of a pension in land upon retirement. For many like you, it is a lifeline, a chance to escape the grinding poverty of the city, to forge a new life through military service. You enlist, taking the oath, feeling the solemn weight of the commitment settle upon your shoulders. The Legion is no longer a temporary levy of farmers and craftsmen. It is becoming a career, a permanent way of life. The scent of the training ground changes, becoming more intense, more constant. The drills are no longer seasonal exercises, but a daily, relentless regimen designed to forge raw recruits into hardened, disciplined soldiers. Marius standardizes equipment, ensuring that every legionary, regardless of their background, is armed and armored identically. You are issued a heavy, rectangular scutum, a curved shield that offers formidable protection. Your pilum, the heavy-throwing spear, is now designed to bend upon impact, preventing the enemy from reusing it. And your gladius, the short, thrusting sword, becomes an extension of your arm, a weapon of brutal efficiency in close quarters. You spend countless hours practicing with these tools. The rhythmic clang of sword on shield, the grunt of effort, the sweat stinging your eyes. The uniformity of the equipment fosters a sense of equality, a shared identity that transcends social class. You are no longer a farmer or a craftsman. You are a legionary, a part of something larger than yourself. The most profound change, however, is the reorganization of the legion itself. The manipular system, while effective, is replaced by the cohort system. The legion is now divided into 10 cohorts, each composed of 6 centuries. You are part of a century, a unit of 80 men, led by a centurion, a grizzled veteran whose authority is absolute, whose voice is a constant guiding presence on the battlefield and in the camp. The cohort, a larger, more flexible tactical unit, becomes the primary building block of the legion. You feel the power of this new formation, the ability to maneuver, to concentrate force, to adapt to the shifting tides of battle. The sound of thousands of feet marching in perfect unison, the rhythmic thud of the contubernium moving as one, is a powerful, almost hypnotic sound. The eagle standard, the aquila, becomes the sacred symbol of the legion, a focal point of loyalty and pride. You see it carried at the head of your column, gleaming in the sun, a silent promise of victory, and a stark reminder of the legion's honor. To lose the eagle is the ultimate disgrace, a stain that can only be washed away by blood. Your loyalty shifts, subtly but irrevocably, from the abstract concept of the Republic to the tangible presence of your legion, your centurion, and ultimately, your general. This personal bond, this unwavering devotion to the commander who leads you, will have profound implications for Roman politics in the centuries to come. The training is relentless, not just in combat skills, but in engineering and construction. You are taught to build, to dig, to fortify. Every night, after a long march, you participate in the construction of a fortified marching camp, a temporary city rising from the earth in a matter of hours. You dig the fossa, the ditch, and raise the agger, the rampart, topped with sharpened stakes. The rhythmic scrape of shovels, the grunt of effort, the quiet commands of the centurions. It is a symphony of organized labor, a testament to the legion's self-sufficiency. You learn to rely on your tools as much as your weapons, understanding that the spade can be as vital as the sword. The scent of freshly turned earth, the feel of the rough wood of the palisade, the quiet satisfaction of seeing a secure camp rise around you as dusk settles. These are the new rhythms of your life. The stars begin to prick through the darkening sky, and the distant sound of a bugle call signals the end of another day, a day that has further cemented your place within this new, professional Roman legion. The sun rises, casting long, cool shadows across the newly constructed marching camp. You wake to the familiar sounds of a legion stirring, the low murmur of voices, the clatter of cooking pots, the rhythmic thud of axes splitting wood for the morning fires. The air is crisp, carrying the scent of damp earth and wood smoke, a comforting aroma that signifies safety and order in a hostile world. Every night, no matter where you are, no matter the terrain, this temporary fortress rises from the ground, a testament to the Roman legion's unparalleled engineering prowess and unwavering discipline. You are an integral part of this process, your hands calloused from the constant labor, your muscles accustomed to the rhythmic exertion. As soon as the day's march concludes, the work begins. The centurions and axios swiftly mark out the perimeter, their voices sharp and clear, directing the flow of thousands of men. You grab your tools, a pickaxe, a shovel, and a basket for carrying earth. The ground beneath your feet is often uneven, rocky, or muddy, but the work proceeds with relentless efficiency. You join your contubernium, your 10th group of 8 men, and together you begin to dig the fossa, the defensive ditch that encircles the entire camp. The rhythmic scrape of shovels against earth, the dull thud of pickaxes striking stone, creates a steady, hypnotic beat. You feel the strain in your back, the burn in your arms, but the collective effort of thousands of men working in unison is a powerful motivator. The earth excavated from the fossa is used to construct the adger, a formidable rampart that rises behind the ditch. You haul basket after basket of soil, dumping it onto the growing mound, your breath coming in steady, measured gasps. The rampart grows quickly, a testament to the sheer manpower and coordinated effort. On top of the adger, a palisade of sharpened stakes, the valley, is erected. These stakes, carried by each legionary as part of their standard pack, are quickly driven into the earth, forming a bristling, impenetrable barrier. The sound of hammers striking wood, the splintering of timber, adds to the symphony of construction. You work until dusk, your hands aching, your body weary, but the sight of the completed defenses, a secure haven rising from the wilderness, brings a quiet satisfaction. Within the camp, the layout is meticulously planned and executed, a grid of streets and tents that mirrors the order of Rome itself. The Via Praetoria leads from the main gate to the Praetorium, the general's tent, while the Via Principalis runs perpendicular, connecting the other gates. The tents of the legions are ranged in neat rows, the cavalry and auxiliaries in their designated areas. You navigate these temporary streets with ease, the familiar pattern a comforting constant in a world of constant movement. The scent of cooking fires now fills the air, the promise of a warm meal after a day of arduous labor. The speed with which these camps are constructed is legendary. A legion of 5,000 men could erect a fully fortified camp in a matter of hours, a feat of logistical and engineering brilliance. This ability to create a secure base of operations anywhere, at any time, provides the legions with an unparalleled strategic advantage. It allows them to advance deep into enemy territory, knowing they can always establish a safe haven for the night. It protects them from surprise attacks, ensures the security of their supplies, and provides a place for rest and recuperation. You feel the quiet hum of activity around you, the sentries taking their posts, the distant challenge of a watchword, the soft glow of lanterns illuminating the tent flaps. Beyond the temporary marching camps, the legions are also responsible for monumental feats of permanent engineering. You might find yourself part of a detachment tasked with building a road, a straight, paved artery stretching across vast distances, connecting distant outposts and facilitating the rapid movement of troops and supplies. The rhythmic chipping of stone, the precise laying of gravel and paving slabs, the sheer scale of the undertaking fills you with a quiet awe. Or perhaps you are part of a team constructing an aqueduct, a graceful arc of stone spanning a valley, bringing fresh water to a distant city or fortress. The sound of water flowing through the channels, a gentle murmur, is a testament to the legion's ability to shape the very landscape. These engineering projects are not merely practical. They are symbols of Roman power and permanence, silent declarations of their dominion over the land. The bridges that span raging rivers, the siege engines that breach formidable walls, the vast network of roads that crisscross the empire, all are products of the legionary skill, discipline, and tireless effort. You are not just a soldier, you are a builder, a pioneer, a silent architect of empire. As the night deepens, and the sounds of the camp slowly fade into a quiet hum, you lie on your straw pallet, feeling the solid earth beneath you, knowing that the ground you helped shape today will stand as a silent testament to the legion's enduring legacy. The morning mist still clings to the ground, but the air is already sharp with the scent of sweat and anticipation. You stand in formation, your scutum held firm, its curved surface cool against your arm. Around you, the rhythmic thud of feet, the sharp commands of the centurions, and the metallic clang of equipment create a symphony of disciplined movement. This is the heart of the Roman legion, its tactics, its unwavering discipline, and the relentless training that forges individual men into an unstoppable collective. You are a cog in this intricate machine, your movements precise, your reactions honed by countless hours of drill. The training is ceaseless, a daily ritual that begins before dawn and often extends until dusk. You learn to march for miles under a heavy pack, the rhythmic crunch of gravel beneath your caligae a constant companion. You practice forming the testudo, the tortoise formation, where shields interlock above and around you, creating an almost impenetrable shell against a hail of arrows or stones. The air inside is close, the light dim, and the sound of missiles striking the shields above you is a dull, resonant thud. You feel the weight of the shields pressing against you, the warmth of the men around you, a shared vulnerability and a shared strength. The gladius, your short, thrusting sword, is your primary weapon in close combat. You learn to use it with brutal efficiency, thrusting rather than slashing, aiming for the soft spots in an enemy's armor. The drills are repetitive, focusing on quick, decisive movements, on maintaining your shield wall, and on supporting the man beside you. The sound of wooden swords clashing against practice shields fills the air, a constant reminder of the violence that awaits. You learn to fight as part of a unit, to trust the man to your left and right, to move as one cohesive block. The pilum, your heavy-throwing spear, is deployed just before contact, a volley of iron-tipped projectiles designed to disrupt enemy formations and pierce their shields. You feel the satisfying weight of it as you hurl it forward, the brief whistle as it cuts through the air. Discipline is the bedrock of the Legion. You witness its enforcement daily, swift and often brutal. Minor infractions might result in a beating with a vine stick, administered by your centurion, a sharp, stinging reminder of the importance of obedience. More serious offenses, like desertion or cowardice, could lead to fustuarium, a public flogging to death by your fellow legionaries, a chilling spectacle that reinforces the absolute necessity of courage and loyalty. The air grows heavy with unspoken fear and respect during such moments, a silent understanding of the stakes involved. Yet, alongside this severity, there is a deep sense of camaraderie. You share your food, your stories, your fears with your contubernium, the 8 men who share your tent. These bonds, forged in shared hardship and the constant threat of death, are stronger than any formal decree. The centurion is the heart of the legion, the grizzled veteran who leads from the front, whose voice is a constant, guiding presence. You look to him for direction, for courage, for the unwavering resolve that defines the legionary spirit. He is the embodiment of discipline, the one who pushes you beyond your perceived limits, who ensures that every man performs his duty. You hear his shouts above the din of battle, his commands cutting through the chaos, a steady anchor in the storm. His presence is a constant, reassuring weight, a silent promise of leadership. On the battlefield, the Legion's tactics are designed for relentless pressure and methodical destruction. The first line, the hastati, engages the enemy, throwing their pila and then drawing their gladi. If they falter, or if the enemy line holds, they fall back through the gaps in the second line, the principes, who then advance. This rolling wave of fresh troops, combined with the constant threat of the Triarian reserve, grinds down the enemy's will. You feel the surge forward, the press of bodies, the clash of steel, the guttural shouts of men. The air is thick with the metallic tongue of blood, the acrid smell of sweat, and the dust kicked up by thousands of struggling feet. The Legion's ability to maintain formation under pressure, to execute complex maneuvers in the heat of battle, is what sets it apart. You learn to ignore the fear, to focus on the man beside you, on the commands of your centurion, on the rhythmic thrust of your sword. The sounds of battle are deafening. The screams of the wounded, the clash of weapons, the roar of the crowd. But through it all, you hear the steady, rhythmic beat of your own heart, a silent testament to your unwavering resolve. As the sun begins to set, casting long, crimson shadows across the battlefield, you stand amidst the quiet aftermath, the silence broken only by the distant cries of the wounded, a silent testament to the Legion's enduring power. The dust of the battlefield settles, and a different rhythm takes hold. The quiet, often monotonous, cadence of daily life within the Legion. You find yourself in a permanent camp, perhaps on a distant frontier, the scent of pine and damp earth replacing the acrid tang of battle. The days are long, filled with a routine that is both demanding and strangely comforting in its predictability. You wake before dawn, the chill of the morning air biting at your skin, the distant sound of a bugle call signaling the start of another day. Your first task is often physical training, a continuation of the relentless drills that forged you into a legionary. You march, you run, you practice with your weapons, your body a finely tuned instrument of war. The rhythmic thud of your caligay on the parade ground, the grunt of effort as you swing your gladius, the steady beat of your heart. These are the constant companions of your morning. The sun rises higher, warming your back, and the sweat begins to prickle on your skin, a familiar sensation. After training, the day shifts to the myriad tasks required to maintain a large military encampment. You might be assigned to guard duty, standing watch on the ramparts, your eyes scanning the distant horizon for any sign of movement, the wind whispering secrets through the palisade. The quiet solitude of these hours, broken only by the distant calls of birds or the rustle of leaves, allows your mind to wander, to drift back to memories of home, of family, of a life that now seems distant and almost unreal. The cold grip of your spear, the rough texture of your woolen cloak, are the only tangible connections to your present reality. Or perhaps you are part of a work detail, repairing a section of the camp wall, digging a new latrine, or clearing brush from the surrounding area. The rhythmic scrape of shovels, the dull thud of axes, the low murmur of conversation among your comrades, these sounds fill the air, a constant hum of productive labor. You learn to appreciate the simple satisfaction of a task completed, of seeing the tangible results of your efforts. The scent of freshly turned earth, the feel of rough stone beneath your hands, are the quiet rewards of your toil. Food is simple but plentiful. Hardtack, dried meat, cheese, and a generous ration of wine. You eat with your contubernium, sharing stories, jokes, and the quiet camaraderie that binds you together. The clatter of mess tins, the low hum of conversation, the occasional burst of laughter. These are the sounds of shared sustenance, of a brief respite from the demands of military life. The warmth of the food in your stomach, the familiar taste of the wine, are small comforts in a world that offers few luxuries. Pay is modest, but regular, and you might save a portion of it, perhaps sending some home to your family, or saving for your eventual discharge. The prospect of a land grant upon retirement, a small farm of your own, is a powerful motivator, a distant dream that sustains you through the long, arduous years of service. You might spend your meager earnings on small luxuries from the Camp Vicus, the civilian settlement that often springs up outside permanent forts. A better pair of boots, a warmer cloak, or a trinket to send home. The bustling sounds of the Vicus, the chatter of merchants, the cries of children, are a brief echo of the civilian world you left behind. Evenings are a time for rest and quiet reflection. You might gather with your comrades around a small fire, sharing stories of past campaigns, of battles fought and victories won. The flickering light of the flames casts dancing shadows on the tent walls, and the low murmur of voices blends with the distant sounds of the camp. The shared laughter, the quiet understanding, the unspoken bonds of brotherhood, these are the true treasures of legionary life. You might write a letter home, painstakingly scratching words onto a wax tablet, trying to convey the reality of your existence to those who can never truly understand. The scent of the lamp oil, the quiet scratch of the stylus, are the sounds of a connection across vast distances. The boredom of garrison life can be as challenging as the terror of battle. The endless routine, the lack of immediate threat, can lead to a quiet weariness. Yet beneath the surface, there is always a readiness, a constant state of preparedness for the sudden, brutal reality of combat. The distant sound of a bugle call, signaling an alert, can shatter the quiet monotony in an instant, transforming the camp from a place of rest into a hive of disciplined activity. You learn to live with this duality, the quiet hum of daily life punctuated by moments of intense, terrifying action. As the night deepens and the sounds of the camp fade into a gentle hum, you lie on your straw pallet, listening to the quiet breathing of your comrades, feeling the steady beat of your own heart, a silent testament to your enduring presence within the heart of the Roman legion. The quiet hum of daily camp life now gives way to a different kind of tension, a subtle tremor that runs through the very foundations of the Republic. The legions, once the instruments of the state, begin to transform into something more personal, more dangerous. You feel the shift in the air, a growing sense of unease, as the loyalty of the soldiers, once directed towards Rome itself, increasingly gravitates towards the powerful generals who lead them. The scent of ambition and political intrigue now mingles with the familiar dust of the parade ground. Gaius Marius, the very man who professionalized the army, inadvertently sows the seeds of this transformation. By opening the legions to the landless poor, he creates a force whose primary loyalty is to the general who promises them land and wealth upon retirement, rather than to the distant, often indifferent, Senate in Rome. You are one of these soldiers, your future inextricably linked to the success and generosity of your commander. The quiet whispers among your comrades are no longer just about rations or drills, but about the political machinations in Rome, about the power struggles between rival factions. You witness the rise of figures like Sulla, a formidable general who, after a bitter rivalry with Marius, marched his legions on Rome itself. The very idea is shocking, a violation of centuries of tradition, yet you follow, your loyalty to your general overriding any abstract notion of civic duty. The rhythmic thud of thousands of feet on the ancient roads leading to the capital, the glint of sunlight on countless pila and scuda, is a terrifying sight, a silent declaration of military power asserting its will over civilian authority. The air is thick with the dust of marching armies, and the distant sounds of the city seem to hold their breath. The civil wars that follow are brutal fratricidal conflicts, pitting Roman against Roman, legion against legion. You might find yourself facing men who once wore the same uniform, who trained in the same camps, who shared the same dreams of retirement. The clash of gladi, the thud of pila, the guttural shouts of men are now directed at former comrades. The scent of blood is familiar, but now it carries the bitter tang of betrayal and sorrow. The eagles, once symbols of unity, now clash against each other, their silent cries echoing across the ravaged landscapes. The most prominent of these figures is Gnaeus Pompeius Magnus, Pompey the Great, a brilliant general who commands immense loyalty from his legions. You might serve under him, feeling the weight of his reputation, the quiet confidence he inspires. His campaigns are vast, his victories numerous, and his legions are fiercely devoted. The sound of his name whispered among the ranks carries a sense of awe and respect. But it is Gaius Julius Caesar who truly embodies this new era of personal armies. His legions, forged in the crucible of the Gallic Wars, are legendary for their discipline, their loyalty, and their unwavering devotion to their commander. You might be one of Caesar's 10th Legion, his favorite, feeling the immense pride that comes with serving under such a charismatic and successful leader. The quiet confidence in his voice, the strategic brilliance of his mind, binds you to him with an unbreakable bond. You follow him across rivers, through dense forests, into the heart of barbarian lands, knowing that his leadership will always lead to victory. The crossing of the Rubicon, a small, insignificant stream, becomes a monumental moment in Roman history. You stand on its banks, the water flowing gently past your caligae, the quiet murmur of the current, a stark contrast to the momentous decision being made. Caesar utters the fateful words, "Alia iacta est," the die is cast, and you march forward, leaving the legal boundaries of your province behind, entering Roman Italy with your arms. The rhythmic thud of your boots on the road, the silent determination of thousands of men, is the sound of an empire irrevocably changed. The civil war between Caesar and Pompey is the ultimate manifestation of this shift in loyalty. Legions loyal to one general clash with legions loyal to another. The fate of Rome hanging in the balance. You fight not for the Senate, not for the abstract ideals of the Republic, but for your general, for the man who has led you to victory, who has shared your hardships, and who promises you a future. The air is thick with the dust of conflict, the clash of steel, the cries of men, a tragic symphony of an empire tearing itself apart. As the sun sets on another day of civil strife, casting long, mournful shadows across the ravaged land, you feel the quiet weight of history pressing down upon you, a silent testament to the profound impact of the legion on Roman politics. The scent of damp earth and distant forests now replaces the acrid tang of civil war, as you find yourself marching north, deep into the untamed lands of Gaul. You are a legionary under the command of Gaius Julius Caesar, and his campaigns here will become legendary, forging his legions into an almost mythical force. The rhythmic crunch of gravel beneath your caligae, the steady breathing of the men around you, and the quiet determination in your heart are the constant companions of this arduous journey. Caesar's genius lies not only in his strategic brilliance, but also in his profound understanding of the legionary spirit. He shares your hardships, marches alongside you, and addresses you by name, fostering a loyalty that transcends mere military discipline. You feel his presence, a quiet strength that permeates the ranks, inspiring unwavering devotion. The sound of his voice, calm and authoritative, cuts through the din of battle, a steady anchor in the storm. The Gallic Wars are a relentless series of campaigns, pushing the legions to their absolute limits. You face fierce, unpredictable Celtic tribes, masters of guerrilla warfare, who emerge from dense forests and vanish into the mist. The clash of your gladius against their long swords, the thud of your pilum against their wooden shields, are constant reminders of the brutal reality of combat. The air is thick with the shouts of men, the screams of the wounded, and the metallic tang of blood. Yet under Caesar's leadership, the legions always prevail, their discipline and superior organization overcoming the ferocity of their opponents. One of the most astonishing feats you witness is the construction of Caesar's bridge over the Rhine River. The river is wide, its current swift and treacherous, and the idea of building a bridge across it seems impossible. Yet, within a mere 10 days, thousands of legionaries, including yourself, worked tirelessly, felling trees, driving piles into the riverbed, and constructing a sturdy wooden bridge. The rhythmic thud of hammers, the groan of timbers, the shouts of the engineers create a symphony of organized labor. You feel the strain in your muscles, the ache in your back, but the quiet satisfaction of seeing the bridge take shape, a testament to Roman ingenuity and sheer willpower, is immense. The scent of fresh-cut wood and damp river water fills the air, a powerful reminder of the legion's ability to conquer not just enemies, but nature itself. You also participate in Caesar's audacious invasions of Britain, crossing the treacherous waters of the English Channel in hastily assembled transports. The choppy waves, the unfamiliar coastline, the fierce resistance of the painted Britons, these are new challenges, pushing your courage and adaptability. You wade ashore, your scutum held high, the cold water swirling around your legs, the roar of the surf mingling with the shouts of your comrades. The battles are brutal, fought in unfamiliar terrain, but the legion's discipline holds firm. The sound of your gladius finding its mark, the rhythmic thrust and parry, becomes a primal dance of survival. The siege of Alesia is perhaps the most iconic moment of the Gallic Wars. You are part of the vast Roman force besieging the Gallic stronghold, a formidable hill fort. But then, a massive Gallic relief army arrives, trapping Caesar's legions between the besieged city and the newly arrived enemy. In an unprecedented feat of engineering, Caesar orders the construction of two concentric lines of fortifications, one facing the city and another, even more formidable, facing outwards to repel the relief army. You spend weeks digging ditches, building ramparts, constructing watchtowers, and laying traps. The rhythmic scrape of shovels, the constant vigilance, the quiet tension of being caught between two powerful enemies are etched into your memory. The final battle is a maelstrom of chaos and courage. You fight on two fronts, repelling attacks from both the besieged Gauls and the relief army. The air is thick with the dust of battle, the clash of steel, the screams of men. You see Caesar himself, riding among the ranks, inspiring his men, his presence a beacon of unwavering resolve. The sheer scale of the conflict, the desperate struggle for survival, pushes you to your absolute limits. Yet the Legion holds, its discipline and engineering genius ultimately prevailing. The quiet exhaustion that settles over you after the victory, the silent relief, is profound. As the sun sets on the conquered lands of Gaul, casting long triumphant shadows, you feel the quiet weight of history, knowing that you have been part of something truly extraordinary, a testament to the enduring power of Caesar's legions. The echoes of civil war slowly fade, replaced by a new, more stable hum across the vast Roman world. You find yourself in a period of profound transformation, as the Republic, shattered by decades of internal strife, gives way to the ordered might of the Roman Empire. At the helm is Octavian, soon to be known as Augustus, a man who understands that true peace requires not just military victory, but a fundamental restructuring of the legions themselves. The scent of political change is in the air, mingling with the familiar aroma of leather and iron. Augustus, having witnessed firsthand the dangers of legions loyal only to their generals, embarks on a sweeping reform program. He demobilizes vast numbers of soldiers, settling them on land grants, a quiet act of gratitude and strategic necessity. For those who remain, and for new recruits, the terms of service are formalized and extended. You now enlist for a fixed term, typically 20 years of active service, followed by 5 years in the reserves. This long commitment transforms the legionary from a temporary soldier into a true professional, a career military man whose life is entirely dedicated to the service of the state. The rhythmic thud of your caligae on the parade ground now carries the weight of a lifetime commitment. The legions are permanently stationed on the frontiers of the empire, guarding its vast borders, projecting Roman power into distant lands. You might find yourself in Germania, facing the dense, dark forests and fierce tribes, or in the scorching deserts of Egypt, or along the misty shores of Bithynia. The landscape changes, the climate shifts, but the core identity of the legionary remains constant. The sound of the wind whistling through the watchtowers, the distant calls of unfamiliar birds, become the new soundtrack of your existence. The Pax Romana, the Roman peace, is not a passive state, but one actively enforced by the legions. They are the guardians of this peace, the silent sentinels who ensure the stability and prosperity of the empire. You participate in the construction of permanent fortresses, massive stone structures that rise from the earth, designed to withstand sieges and serve as enduring symbols of Roman authority. The rhythmic chipping of stone, the grunt of effort as you haul heavy timbers, the quiet satisfaction of seeing a formidable wall take shape. These are the daily rhythms of your life. The scent of mortar and freshly cut stone fills the air, a testament to the legion's enduring presence. The discipline remains as rigorous as ever, but the focus shifts from internal civil wars to external defense and the maintenance of order. You are part of a vast, interconnected network of legions, each responsible for its own sector of the frontier, yet all ultimately serving the emperor. The communication between these distant outposts, the rapid deployment of reinforcements along the newly built roads, speaks to the logistical genius of the Roman military machine. You feel the quiet hum of this vast organization, a silent testament to its efficiency. The Aquila, The eagle standard remains the sacred symbol of your legion, but now it represents the enduring power of the emperor and the stability of the empire. Your loyalty is now directed towards this central authority, a unifying force that transcends individual generals. The solemnity of the oath, the quiet pride in your uniform are deeply ingrained. You are a defender of civilization, a bringer of order to a chaotic world. Life in the imperial army is one of constant vigilance, punctuated by periods of intense activity. You might be called upon to suppress a local rebellion, to repel a barbarian incursion, or to participate in a grand engineering project. The skills you learned in training, the ability to fight, to build, to endure, are constantly put to the test. The scent of damp earth, the metallic tang of your armor, the rhythmic thud of your marching boots. These are the sensory details of a life dedicated to the service of Rome. As the decades pass, you witness the quiet strength of the empire, its borders secured, its trade routes flourishing, its cities growing in wealth and splendor. The legions, once instruments of conquest, are now the silent guardians of this prosperity. You are part of a legacy that will endure for centuries, a testament to the vision of Augustus and the unwavering discipline of the Roman soldier. As the sun sets on another day of quiet vigilance, casting long shadows across the fortified walls of your camp, you feel the steady beat of your own heart, a silent echo of the enduring power of the Roman legion. The wind whispers secrets through the tall grasses of the northern frontier, carrying the scent of damp earth and distant forests. You stand on a watchtower, the rough stone cool beneath your fingertips, your gaze sweeping across a vast, untamed landscape. This is the edge of the known world, the boundary where Roman order meets the wild, unpredictable lands beyond. You are a legionary stationed on the limes, the fortified frontier, a silent sentinel of the empire's vast reach. The most iconic of these frontiers is Hadrian's Wall, a monumental barrier stretching from coast to coast across Britannia. You might be one of the thousands of legionaries who labored to construct this formidable structure, hauling heavy stones, mixing mortar, and shaping the very landscape. The rhythmic chipping of chisels, the grunt of effort as you lift massive blocks, the quiet commands of the engineers. These sounds fill the air, a constant symphony of construction. The cold, damp air of Britannia bites at your skin, and the mist often shrouds the distant hills, creating a sense of isolation. Life on the frontier is one of constant vigilance. Your days are filled with patrols, marching along the wall, your caligae crunching on the gravel path, your eyes scanning the desolate moors for any sign of movement, the wind whispering secrets through the palisade. The silence is often profound, broken only by the cry of a distant bird or the rustle of wind through the heather. This quiet solitude can be both comforting and unsettling, fostering a deep connection to the vastness of the land, yet also a constant awareness of the unseen threats that lurk beyond the fortifications. The scent of damp earth and wild herbs clings to your cloak, a constant reminder of your remote posting. Your duties extend beyond mere patrolling. You are responsible for maintaining the wall, repairing sections damaged by weather or time, ensuring the integrity of the defenses. You also serve as customs agents, monitoring trade and controlling movement through the gates, the mile castles, and the turrets that punctuate the wall's length. The occasional chatter of merchants, the lowing of livestock, the brief interactions with the local population. These are small breaks in the quiet monotony of frontier life. The forts along the lines are self-sufficient communities, miniature Roman cities transplanted to the wilderness. You live in barracks, sharing close quarters with your contubernium, the familiar sounds of snoring and quiet conversation filling the air at night. Outside the fort walls, a vicus often springs up, a civilian settlement providing services and entertainment, taverns, bathhouses, and shops. The distant sounds of laughter and music from the vicus offer a brief escape from the strict discipline of military life. Despite the relative peace of the Pax Romana, the threat of barbarian incursions is ever present. You are always prepared for a sudden raid, for the alarm call that shatters the quiet of the night. The sound of distant horns, the guttural shouts of attackers, the clash of steel against shield. These moments of intense, terrifying action are a stark contrast to the long periods of quiet vigilance. You learn to react instantly, to grab your gladius, to fall into formation, your training kicking in automatically. The metallic tang of fear, the acrid smell of smoke, are the sensory details of these sudden, brutal encounters. A frontier is a melting pot of cultures. While you may be from Italy, many of your comrades are recruited from the provinces, speaking different languages, bringing different customs. Yet, within the Legion, a shared identity is forged, a common purpose that transcends ethnic differences. The quiet conversations around the campfire, the shared meals, the mutual reliance in the face of danger. These are the threads that weave together a diverse group of men into a cohesive fighting force. The scent of different spices from their cooking, the sound of unfamiliar songs, add to the rich tapestry of frontier life. As the years pass, you become intimately familiar with the rhythms of the frontier, the changing seasons, the migration of animals, the subtle shifts in the wind. You are a guardian of the empire, a silent protector of its vast borders. The quiet strength of the stone wall, the enduring presence of the legion, are testaments to Rome's unwavering resolve. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting long purple shadows across the desolate landscape, you stand on the ramparts, feeling the cool evening air on your face. A silent sentinel at the edge of the known world, your gaze fixed on the vast, mysterious expanse beyond. The familiar sounds of Latin commands now mingle with a growing chorus of other tongues within the legion's ranks. You notice the subtle shifts, the different accents, the varied customs that begin to permeate the daily life of the Roman army. The empire has expanded, its borders stretching across vast and diverse lands. And with this expansion comes a fundamental change in the composition of the legions themselves. No longer solely drawn from the heartland of Italy, the legions are becoming a truly multi-ethnic force, a testament to Rome's ability to integrate and assimilate. You might find yourself serving alongside men from Gaul, their voices carrying the soft cadences of their native Celtic. Or perhaps you share a tent with a Syrian archer, his dark eyes reflecting the distant sun of the eastern deserts, his stories filled with the exotic sounds and sights of his homeland. There are Germans, their frames broad and powerful, their language guttural and strong. Britons, with their quiet resilience, and Africans, their skin kissed by the sun, their laughter echoing through the barracks. The scent of different foods, the sound of unfamiliar songs, the quiet exchange of cultural traditions, all contribute to the rich tapestry of legionary life. This integration is not without its challenges. Initial suspicions and cultural misunderstandings slowly give way to a shared identity forged in the crucible of military service. The common uniform, the shared drills, the mutual reliance in battle, these are the powerful forces that bind men from disparate backgrounds into a cohesive unit. You learn to communicate not just through words, but through gestures, through shared glances, through the unspoken understanding that comes from facing danger together. The rhythmic thud of your caligae on the parade ground, the clang of your gladius against a practice shield, are universal languages understood by all. Recruitment from the provinces becomes increasingly vital as the empire's manpower needs grow. Local populations, once conquered, are now offered the opportunity to serve Rome, to gain citizenship for themselves and their families upon honorable discharge. For many, this is a powerful incentive, a path to social mobility and a better life. You witness the quiet determination in the eyes of these new recruits, their eagerness to prove themselves, to earn their place within the ranks. The scent of ambition and hope now mingles with the familiar aroma of sweat and leather. These provincial recruits bring with them unique skills and perspectives. The archers from Syria, the cavalrymen from Gaul, the slingers from the Balearic Islands. These specialized units, often serving as auxiliaries alongside the legions, complement the heavy infantry, adding depth and versatility to the Roman military machine. You see them training, their movements fluid and precise, their weapons different from your own, yet equally deadly. The whistle of arrows, the thud of hooves, the whir of slings. These sounds add new layers to the symphony of the Roman army. The shared experience of military life, the long marches, the arduous labor, the terrifying moments of battle, create an unbreakable bond. You share your rations, your stories, your fears, and your triumphs with men who, just a few years prior, might have been considered enemies. The quiet conversations around the campfire, the shared laughter, the silent understanding that transcends language barriers. These are the true strengths of the multi-ethnic legion. The flickering light of the flames casts dancing shadows on faces from across the known world, united by a common purpose. As the decades pass, the distinction between Ramang and provincial blurs within the legions. The sons of veterans, born and raised in the military camps on the frontiers, often follow in their father's footsteps, their primary identity that of a legionary, regardless of their ethnic origin. The legion becomes a family, a home, a way of life that transcends geographical boundaries. The quiet pride in your uniform, the unwavering loyalty to your comrades, are deeply ingrained. You are a testament to Rome's enduring ability to absorb and integrate, to forge a powerful, cohesive force from disparate elements. The strength of the empire lies not just in its military might, but in its capacity to unite diverse peoples under a common banner. As the sun sets on another day of shared duty, casting long shadows across the barracks, you feel the quiet hum of camaraderie, a silent echo of the multi-ethnic heart of the Roman legion, beating steadily across the vast expanse of the empire. Beyond the clash of steel and the dust of battle, the Roman legion leaves an indelible mark on the very landscape it traverses. You find yourself not just a soldier, but a builder, an engineer, a silent architect of the empire's enduring infrastructure. The rhythmic scrape of shovels, the dull thud of hammers, the grunt of effort from thousands of men working in unison. These are the sounds of the legion's other, equally formidable, conquest, the mastery of the physical world. The most visible legacy of the legion's engineering prowess is the vast network of Roman roads. You might be part of a detachment tasked with constructing one of these arteries, stretching for hundreds of miles across plains, through forests, and over mountains. The work is arduous, beginning with the clearing of land, the felling of trees, and the leveling of the ground. You then dig deep trenches, lay down layers of gravel and crushed stone, and finally, meticulously place the large, flat paving stones that form the durable surface. The scent of freshly turned earth, the feel of rough stone beneath your hands are constant companions. The quiet satisfaction of seeing a perfectly straight, well-drained road emerge from the wilderness is immense, a testament to your collective effort. These roads are not merely pathways. They are lifelines, facilitating the rapid movement of troops, supplies, and information across the vast empire. They allow legions to respond swiftly to threats, to transport goods efficiently, and to connect distant outposts to the heart of Rome. You feel the quiet hum of this logistical marvel, the constant flow of traffic, the rhythmic crunch of wagon wheels on the paved surface. The very ground beneath your feet becomes a testament to Roman order and efficiency. Another astonishing feat of legionary engineering is the construction of aqueducts. You might be part of a team building one of these magnificent structures, a graceful arc of stone spanning a valley, or a subterranean channel tunneling through solid rock. The work requires immense precision, a deep understanding of hydraulics, and tireless labor. You quarry stone, shape blocks, and meticulously lay them, ensuring the perfect gradient for the water to flow. The rhythmic chipping of chisels, the splash of water as you test a section, the quiet murmur of the flowing current. These are the sounds of bringing life-sustaining water to distant cities and fortresses. The cool, damp air of the tunnels, the scent of wet stone, are the sensory details of this monumental undertaking. Bridges, too, are a testament to the legion's ingenuity. Whether temporary pontoon bridges thrown across a river in a matter of hours, or permanent stone arches that stand for centuries, these structures overcome natural barriers and extend Rome's reach. You might be involved in felling massive trees for timbers, or in shaping huge blocks of stone, then carefully positioning them to withstand the force of the current. The roar of the river below, the creak of timbers, the shouts of the engineers, create a symphony of daring construction. The quiet satisfaction of seeing a bridge completed, connecting two previously separated lands, is a powerful reward. Beyond these grand projects, the legions are also responsible for countless smaller, yet equally vital, engineering tasks. They dig canals, drain swamps, build dams, and construct harbors. They are masters of siege warfare, building formidable siege engines, ballistae, catapults, and siege towers that can breach even the strongest fortifications. You learn to operate these complex machines, the groan of ropes, the thud of counterweights, the terrifying whistle of a projectile launched through the air. The legionary's toolkit is not just his sword and shield, but also his pickaxe, shovel, and surveying instruments. He is a soldier, but also a skilled laborer, a surveyor, a carpenter, a mason. This versatility, this ability to adapt to any task, is a hallmark of the Roman legion. You feel the quiet pride in your multifaceted skills, knowing that you contribute to the empire's strength in countless ways beyond the battlefield. These engineering feats are more than just practical necessities. They are powerful symbols of Roman power and permanence. They demonstrate Rome's ability to impose its will on the natural world, to bring order and civilization to untamed lands. The silent strength of a Roman road, the enduring grace of an aqueduct, the quiet majesty of a bridge, these structures stand as eternal monuments to the legion's tireless efforts. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting long shadows across a newly paved road, you feel the quiet hum of history, knowing that your hands have helped shape the very foundations of an enduring empire. The steady hum of the Pax Romana begins to falter, replaced by a growing sense of unease, a subtle tremor that runs through the vast body of the empire. You feel the shift in the air, a quiet erosion of the old certainties, as the Roman legion, once an unyielding force, faces new challenges that will ultimately transform its very nature. The scent of change, of decline, now mingles with the familiar dust of the parade ground. The 3rd century AD brings a period of profound crisis for the empire, and by extension, for its legions. Internal political instability, marked by a rapid succession of emperors, weakens the central authority. You witness the constant power struggles, the assassinations, the civil wars that erupt with alarming frequency. The loyalty of the legions, once firmly directed towards the emperor, becomes fragmented, often shifting to the general who can offer the most immediate rewards or who promises stability. The rhythmic thud of marching boots now carries the unsettling sound of legions fighting each other, rather than external enemies. External threats also multiply and intensify. Barbarian tribes, once held at bay by the formidable limes, now press harder against the frontiers, their raids becoming more frequent and more devastating. You face new enemies, often mounted warriors, whose swift, hit-and-run tactics challenge the traditional heavy infantry formations of the legion. The clash of your gladius against their unfamiliar weapons, the terrifying speed of their charges, force you to adapt, to rethink centuries of established tactics. The air is thick with the dust of constant skirmishes, the cries of men, and the metallic tang of fear. The economic strain of constant warfare and political instability begins to tell. The empire struggles to pay and supply its vast army. You might experience shortages of equipment, delays in pay, or a decline in the quality of rations. The quiet grumbling among the ranks grows louder, a subtle undercurrent of discontent that was once unthinkable. The familiar scent of wood smoke and cooking food in the camp is sometimes replaced by the bitter aroma of scarcity. The very composition of the legion begins to change. As manpower becomes scarcer, the quality of recruits sometimes declines. The rigorous training that once forged raw recruits into elite soldiers is sometimes shortened or less effective. You see younger, less experienced men joining the ranks, their faces still soft, their movements less precise. The quiet confidence that once permeated the legion is subtly eroded by these changes. The nature of warfare itself evolves. The emphasis shifts from offensive conquest to defensive holding actions. The legion, once a tool for expansion, becomes primarily a force for border defense. The long, arduous marches of conquest are replaced by endless patrols along the lines, by the quiet vigilance of garrison duty. The sound of the wind whistling through the watchtowers now carries a note of weary resignation. The traditional heavy infantry, while still formidable, finds itself increasingly challenged by the growing importance of cavalry. Mounted units, both Roman and allied, become more prominent, their speed and mobility essential for intercepting raiding parties and responding to swift barbarian incursions. You see the shift in emphasis, the growing number of horses in the camp, the different drills of the cavalrymen. The thud of hooves, the jingle of harness, add new sounds to the military soundscape. The legion's structure also undergoes a slow, almost imperceptible transformation. The large, cohesive legions of the early empire begin to fragment into smaller, more flexible units. The traditional legion of 5,000 men becomes less common, replaced by smaller detachments, often operating independently. This decentralization, while necessary for responding to multiple threats, also weakens the overall cohesion and identity of the larger legionary body. The quiet hum of a vast, unified force begins to break into smaller, more distinct murmurs. As the centuries progress, the Roman legion, as you knew it, slowly fades, transforming into something new, something different. The old ways, while deeply ingrained, prove insufficient for the challenges of a changing world. The quiet strength of the stone walls, the enduring presence of the legion, are still there, but they now carry the weight of an empire under increasing strain. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting long, weary shadows across the fortified camp, you feel the quiet passage of time, a silent testament to the slow, inevitable decline and transformation of the once unconquerable Roman legion. The air now carries a chill that seems to penetrate deeper than before, a subtle shift in the very atmosphere of the empire. You are a soldier in the late Roman army, a force that has undergone profound transformations, adapting to a world vastly different from the one that forged the legions of Caesar or Augustus. The scent of damp earth and distant, encroaching threats now permeates every breath. The grand, unified legions of old have largely given way to a more fragmented, specialized military structure. You are no longer part of a single massive legion of 5,000 men, but likely a member of a smaller, more mobile unit. The army is now broadly divided into two main categories: the comitatenses, the mobile field armies, and the limitanei, the border guards. You might find yourself in a comitatenses unit, constantly on the move, responding to crises across vast distances. The rhythmic thud of your boots on the road, a constant companion. Or perhaps you are a limitanius, stationed on a frontier, your days filled with quiet vigilance, the wind whispering secrets through the watchtowers. The emphasis has shifted from offensive conquest to defensive resilience. The empire is no longer expanding. It is struggling to hold on to what it has. Your role is primarily to repel incursions, to defend the borders, to act as a shield against the growing pressure from barbarian tribes. The sound of distant barbarian horns, the guttural shouts of raiders, are more frequent now, a constant reminder of the precariousness of the empire's position. The metallic tang of fear is a more common companion than the scent of victory. The composition of the army continues to evolve. While Roman citizens still serve, a significant portion of the ranks, particularly in the comitatenses, are now drawn from barbarian federates, allied tribes who fight for Rome in exchange for land or subsidies. You might find yourself fighting alongside Goths, Franks, or Alans. Their fighting styles different, their language is unfamiliar, yet their loyalty, for now, directed towards the empire. The clash of their unique weapons, the sound of their battle cries, add new, sometimes unsettling, elements to the symphony of battle. Cavalry plays an increasingly dominant role. The swift, mounted charges of barbarian armies necessitate a strong Roman cavalry arm to counter them. You might be a cavalryman yourself, feeling the powerful surge of your horse beneath you, the wind whipping past your face as you gallop across the plains. The thud of hooves, the jingle of harness, the shouts of the riders. These sounds are now as common as the rhythmic march of infantry. The scent of horse sweat and leather is ever present. The equipment also changes. The iconic scudum and gladius are still present, but you might also see longer swords, the spatha, more suited for cavalry and slashing attacks. Chainmail and scale armor become more common, offering greater protection against the increasingly powerful weapons of the enemy. The sound of clanking armor, the heavier tread of heavily equipped soldiers are the new sounds of the late Roman army. The discipline, while still present, is sometimes less rigid than in earlier centuries. The long periods of crisis, the constant movement, and the integration of diverse elements can lead to a subtle loosening of the old strictures. Yet the core professionalism remains, the ability to form up, to fight, to endure. You still rely on the man beside you, on the shared understanding forged in the crucible of battle. The quiet conversations around the campfire, the shared meals, are still the threads that bind you together. The empire itself is a vast, sprawling entity, often governed by multiple emperors, its administrative center shifting. You might serve under different commanders, in different regions, your loyalty sometimes tested by the political currents. The sense of a single unified Rome, once so strong, is now more diffuse, more complex. The quiet hum of a vast, centralized power is replaced by the murmur of regional commands. As the centuries draw to a close, the Roman legion, in its final, transformed iteration, continues its tireless work, defending an empire under siege. You are a silent guardian, a testament to the enduring spirit of Rome, even as its power wanes. The quiet strength of your resolve, the unwavering commitment to your duty, are the final echoes of a military tradition that has spanned 1,000 years. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting long, weary shadows across the fortified frontier, you feel the quiet weight of history, a silent testament to the final, enduring presence of the Roman legion. The final echoes of marching feet fade into the vast silence of time, and the last glint of sunlight on a Roman eagle disappears beyond the horizon. You stand in the quiet aftermath, not of a battle, but of an era, as the Roman legion, in its myriad forms, finally recedes into the annals of history. Yet its presence, its profound impact, continues to ripple through the centuries, a silent, enduring legacy that shapes the world you inhabit even now. The air is still, carrying only the faint, ghost-like scent of ancient dust and forgotten endeavors. The most immediate and tangible legacy is in the realm of military organization. The very concept of a professional standing army, with its standardized equipment, its rigorous training, its hierarchical structure, and its emphasis on discipline, is a direct inheritance from the Roman legion. You see its echoes in the armies of today, in the very way soldiers are trained, equipped, and commanded. The rhythmic cadence of a modern drill, the precise movements of a formation, carry the faint, distant echo of Roman centurions, barking commands on a dusty parade ground. The quiet hum of military efficiency, the silent understanding of shared purpose, are direct descendants of the legionary spirit. Beyond the battlefield, the legion's engineering feats continue to stand as silent monuments to its ingenuity and tireless labor. The straight, enduring Roman roads, many of which still form the basis of modern transportation networks, are a testament to their mastery of construction. You might drive on a road today that follows the exact path laid down by legionary engineers 2 millennia ago, feeling the quiet strength of their enduring work beneath your wheels. The graceful arches of aqueducts, the sturdy foundations of bridges, the remnants of fortified camps. These structures whisper stories of a time when soldiers were also master builders, shaping the very landscape with their hands and their will. The scent of ancient stone, the quiet murmur of water still flowing through old channels, are powerful reminders of their lasting impact. The influence extends to law and administration. The Roman military system, with its clear chain of command, its emphasis on order, and its detailed record-keeping, provided a model for the development of Roman civil administration, and, subsequently, for legal and bureaucratic systems across Europe. The quiet precision of legal documents, the methodical organization of government, carry the faint imprint of legionary discipline. The very concept of a structured, organized state owes a debt to the legions that enforced its will and maintained its order. Even language bears the mark of the legion. Latin, the language of the Roman army, spread with its conquests, forming the foundation for the Romance languages spoken across vast swaths of the world today. Words and phrases, once common in the barracks and on the march, evolved and transformed, becoming part of the everyday vocabulary of millions. The quiet murmur of a conversation in French, Spanish, or Italian carries the distant echo of a Roman legionary's voice. The concept of citizenship and the path to it through military service also left a profound legacy. The integration of diverse peoples into the Roman military and the promise of citizenship upon discharge laid the groundwork for later ideas of national identity and inclusion. You see the quiet power of shared purpose, the ability to forge a common identity from disparate elements, a lesson learned and relearned throughout history. The Roman legion, in its long and varied history, was more than just a fighting force. It was an engine of empire, a vehicle for cultural exchange, a school of engineering, and a crucible for human endurance. It shaped landscapes, built cities, spread language, and laid the foundations for future civilizations. Its story is one of relentless discipline, unwavering loyalty, and an almost unimaginable capacity for perseverance. The quiet strength of its legacy continues to resonate, a silent testament to the countless men who marched under the eagle, who built, who fought, and who ultimately shaped the world. As the final images of marching legions and fortified camps gently recede, allow the quiet stillness to settle around you. The dust of ages, stirred by countless footsteps, now drifts softly, settling upon the quiet earth. The distant clang of a blacksmith's hammer, the faint murmur of ancient voices, the rhythmic thud of boots on a long-forgotten road. These sounds, once so vibrant, now soften into the gentle whispers of memory. Feel the quiet peace of the night, the slow, steady rhythm of your own breath, as the vast tapestry of history folds itself into the quiet darkness. The weight of the past, once so tangible, now becomes a gentle, comforting presence, a silent echo in the quiet chambers of your mind. All that remains is the soft, lingering whisper of a story told, fading into the quiet embrace of the night.